Welcome to my channel. My name is Ro. I'm a project manager, content creator, and healthy productivity fanatic. Get ready for practical tips and hands-on strategies to help you on your way to success in a life full of unique challenges. Time blocking is a super popular productivity tool. It's recommended by many productivity books and many productivity gurus. However, time blocking effectively is not actually a very easy task. I know a lot of people who actually gave up on the concept of time blocking because they found it too complicated and they ditched the idea before it actually could provide any value to them. There are some common thinking traps when it comes to time blocking, as well as some practical challenges. In today's video, I'd like to share with you my method for time blocking using Google Calendar. I'll show you from the ground up how you can use Google Calendar to effectively time block so it can actually help you instead of hinder you. Before we actually dive into how I set up my Google Calendar, I have a couple of just general tips that I want to give you. The first and foremost, most important lesson, and that's also the first thinking trap that comes with time blocking, is don't treat your calendar like a to-do list. There's a reason there's two separate things, a calendar and a to-do list. If you start planning every single one of your tasks in your calendar and make a little time block of 15 minutes to do something, every single time something in your calendar changes or shifts, you're gonna have to shuffle around so many tasks, and you're gonna be losing time to make your calendar and your time blocks updated. It's also not gonna give you an indication of how much time you're spending on something or what areas of your life you're spending most of your time on, because you're literally time blocking things of 15 minutes, treating your calendar like a to-do list, which is just gonna look incredibly messy and make you actually feel like you've lost overview instead of gained it. And that's kind of the opposite that we're trying to reach with time blocking. Secondly, when you've never time blocked before and you struggle with actually estimating how long something's gonna take you or how many to-dos you can do within a certain time block, always give yourself 10 to 15% more. That's my general rule of thumb. Just start by giving yourself 10 to 15% more of the time that you actually think that you'll need for it. This way, you always have a little bit of time for tasks to spill over without you having to completely reschedule your entire day. And also, it just gives you a little bit of breathing room instead of feeling pressured all the time to finish everything exactly on time. You hopefully have some time during the day somewhere to grab yourself a coffee, do some stretchies, or actually maybe go outside for a little bit because you finished the task early. But it also allows you to take some extra time if you're not finished with a task. And it's really nice to just give yourself this extra wiggle room so that you don't have to constantly worry about having to reschedule everything, having to time block again. You'll get better over time at estimating how much time a certain task takes. However, I still kind of plan 10% extra anytime, even though I know something's gonna take me shorter. That way my day doesn't feel completely back to back filled with things I have to do, but there's just a little breathing room for me, and that's okay. We're all human. Time blocking will make us more productive, but we don't have to turn into robots. We also need to practice self-care because self-care is very sexy. And thirdly, I've mentioned this in my other videos as well, but treat your time like a budget. You can only spend it once. This to me is one of the core philosophies of my entire productivity system, of my entire basically way of living, is I honestly treat my time like a budget. I spend my time wisely and I decide what I want to spend my time on. And by time blocking, I'm kind of just budgeting my time. That's what I'm doing. I'm seeing how much time I want to spend on a certain topic or a certain area in my life. Now that we've covered those three basic fundamentals of time blocking, or at least for me, I know that some other people have other opinions and views on time blocking, so make sure that you do not only watch this video if you want to get into time blocking, because that way, if you get multiple perspectives and multiple ideas, you can actually figure out what works best for you, because that in the end is the goal. I'm not here to tell you that you're right or wrong. I'm here to show you a way of time blocking that can hopefully help you become more productive, but if any other way is more effective for you, that is also completely fine. But like I said, now that the fundamentals are in, let's actually dive into Google Calendar so that I can show you from the ground up how I approach time blocking and what smart things I do to make it 1, fun, and 2, super easy to use. The first step to start time blocking in Google Calendar is actually to make a Google account if you don't have one yet, and go to Google Calendar. I'll make sure to put a direct link in the description box down below, but if you just Google, that sounds weird. If you Google Calendar. Anyways, if you Google Calendar, you will get a direct link to here. You can also use the mobile app, but for today's ease, I'm gonna use the web version because it's so much easier. The next step would be to start creating your calendars. So basically, I explained in my productivity system video, I'll make sure to link it in the cards in the description box down below. I explained that I have different areas of my life, and that to me is the foundation of time blocking as well. I want to make sure that my calendar visually represents what kind of areas I have in my life that I'm spending my time on, and I want to be able to time block in those categories as well. So I started with a completely clean slate, and I'm going to show you how to add multiple calendars to Google and actually customize them so that they look prettier. Once you load into your Google Calendar, you can actually see on the sidebar a place that says My Calendars. That's where we're going to start for today. The first calendar that you're going to see on the list is always the calendar that is named after your account, so basically your default calendar. But we're going to do a couple of things. First, we're going to start by clicking on the three dots on the right. That is actually going to show you the context menu, and you're going to go to Settings and Sharing. This will allow you to rename your first calendar, and I'm just going to rename it to, let's say, Day Job. So whatever you do by day, if you are, in my case, like a project manager or wherever you work, you're going to call this Day Job, and that's going to be your calendar. Then you're going to go here and you're going to say create a new calendar, and we're going to call that, in my case, I'm going to call it streaming, because streaming takes a lot of my time. So I want to make sure that I can put that in a separate calendar so I can see how much of my time I'm spending on this topic. Once we've entered a name, we're going to create the calendar, and it's going to take a little while. It's going to say calendar creation in progress. Just wait for it to show up on your sidebar. As you can see, it now shows up on the sidebar. So now we can actually go ahead and create a second calendar, which I'm going to call YouTube, because anything I have to do for this YouTube channel or my other YouTube channel, I want to be able to time block separately as well. Then I'm going to create a calendar for personal appointments. So basically anything that is related to friend appointments that I make, things that I want to do for just myself. So I'm just going to call the calendar personal. Then I'm going to create one for me and my partner, because that is the calendar that I'm actually going to be sharing. So I'm going to make sure that my partner can access this calendar as well. I will also show you how to do that. But by making a separate calendar for those appointments, your partner can actually access this Google Calendar too. They can add their appointments whenever they're going to do something with you, and it's going to be super, super easy for both of you to kind of manage your time. You can also share, in my case, I have my personal calendar and my streaming calendar shared as well, so that my boyfriend can actually see whenever I'm streaming and whenever I'm out of the house for a personal appointment. And then lastly, I'm going to create a calendar that I call habits and chores. And that's basically for me being able to block time to build habits or to like clean my house, things that reoccur every single week that take me a good amount of time that I want to make sure that I keep the time free for. The reason I keep this separate from my personal calendar is basically because I have the shared calendar situation, and I don't want my boyfriend to see my meditation exercises in the morning every day, or maybe my chores in the weekend. So that's why I kind of keep them separated. And I also want to make sure that they have a different color, because that way for me it's easier to visually see what is time that I'm building habits, etc. So once you have all of your calendars in, let's actually start by sharing that partner calendar. So you're going to click on that calendar, then you're gonna scroll down, you're gonna say share with specific people or groups, and then you can actually click on this one. You can enter your partner's email address. Mind you, it does have to be a Google Mail address as well, and once they accept the invitation that they receive through mail, they will show up here, and then you can actually select what kind of rights they'll have over the calendar, whether it's just viewing or if they can also make changes to your calendar. So once you've actually set up all the calendars in the settings, you can go back to your calendar view, and one thing that I really like to do is actually make sure that my calendar will look pretty once I start to time block. The default colors in Google are not bad, but they're also not really good looking. And to me, it makes a huge difference if it looks nice visually, because that usually entices my brain to use something more. So I'm going to show you how you can create your own custom calendar colors. So to begin with, I actually selected a really nice palette, like soft autumn. I felt like that really fit with the season of the year. And what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to get the hex codes of these colors. I'll actually link up top a video that I made about productivity tools where I mentioned the tool Power Toys, which is honestly a lifesaver when you want to get custom colors. In my case, I just press Start Shift C on my keyboard and I will get this little color picker. And then once I click on it, it will actually give me the hex code of this specific calendar. So I'm just going to copy this, and then I'm going to go back to my Google Calendar and I'm going to show you how to set up the custom color. So once you're back in your Google Calendar, you're going to click on the context menu again. You're going to see all of these colors and you're going to click the little plus sign. As you can see, it's going to ask you for a hex code. So you're just going to remove all the numbers here. You're going to leave the little hashtag and you're going to paste the color that you have and you're going to save it. As you can see, now it actually has a custom color. So let me quickly set that up for all of the calendars, and then I'm going to show you how to properly time block. Okay, I've got the colors set up, so all of them have a pretty cute color now. So now it is actually time to start time blocking. So the first time block that I'm gonna put in is actually the time blocks for my day job. The reason for that being is because they're big time blocks. I have a 9-to-5 job 3 days a week, so I'm just gonna start by adding those in. And I usually make use of reoccurring appointments when I know that a certain time block actually has a pattern to it, because that way I don't have to draw them again every single week and they will just show up. And whenever something changes in my schedule, I modify that singular appointment. So let's start by dragging that time block from a 9 to 5. Something that I really like to do in my Google Calendar is actually start off my titles of my time blocks with a little emoji. This again is another visual effect that helps me make my calendar look fun, look cozy, and it also helps me kind of visualize quickly what type of work I'm doing. So for my day job, I'm a project manager. I usually spend a lot of time at my desk, so I love to add a little laptop icon. Then I just write top desk work because that's the company that I work for, and then I'm gonna repeat it custom. We're gonna repeat it I just realized my calendar starts on a Sunday. That's something I'm gonna have to adjust in the settings because personally I live in a place where our calendars start on Monday and it always confuses the heck out of me when calendars start on Sunday. But it's gonna repeat every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So let's actually save that, and you're gonna see that it will show up in my calendar. And let me very quickly fix that the week starts on a Monday. Okay, now that we fixed that, you can see the time blocks for these are in. As you can imagine, I will have a lot of tasks and meetings to do during these time blocks. At my work, I use Outlook Calendar. I actually have my actual Outlook calendar added to my Google. You can do that by adding another calendar, and you can subscribe to a calendar. If you're interested in a specific tutorial for how to add separate calendars into your Google Calendar, let me know. I could definitely make probably like a short video out of that. Let me know in the comments down below if that's something you want to know. But I also know there are already a lot of tutorials out there that I actually use myself to get this done. So feel free to check those out as well. But in that case, I can actually toggle my top desk calendar and I can see which appointments I have within this time block. However, the reason I just put a big time block here is because the only purpose for me of time blocking is seeing what I'm spending my time on. So from 9 to 5 on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, I will be spending my time on top desk related work. Any prioritization of my actual task will happen on my to-do list. My to-do list will tell me what I'll have to do in this time, what order I'll have to do it, and what priority it has. So this is simply me putting in time so that I know that when I look at my to-do list and I see all kinds of tasks related to my top desk work, I know that I'll have 8 hours on Monday, 8 hours on Tuesday, and 8 hours on Thursday to finish them. Then I know that things like writing scripts, answering my emails, all of those admin tasks are usually things that I really like to do in my mornings. So on my Wednesdays and my Fridays, I actually have days where I get to work on my content creation. So what I usually do is I block my time from 8 to 10. I change the calendar from day job to content creation. Also, I earlier created a calendar that was called YouTube, but I changed it to content creation. The reason is that content creation kind of includes everything that I do. The reason I still keep streaming separate, again, is because I want to share my streaming schedule with my boyfriend, but I don't want to share the time blocks for my content creation. If that's not relevant for you, if you are a person that doesn't share calendars with other people, feel free to just mush it together. The lesser areas you have, the easier it's going to be for you to time block and pick the right calendar. But again, the reason I separate them is because I want to share some information and some I don't. From 8 to 10 in the morning, I'm gonna add a cup of coffee as a little icon, and then we're gonna do admin and writing. There we go. And I'm actually gonna click this. I'm quickly gonna edit it, and then we're gonna have that repeat custom every week on Wednesday and Friday in the morning. There we go, save. I really like, again, that I always know that on Wednesdays and Fridays, I just get to wake up, put on some clothes, like shower, put on some clothes, then make myself some breakfast, sit down at my PC, and I'll have 2 hours just to eat my breakfast, drink my coffee, and do some admin work behind my PC. This is like my cozy time. I put on some nice music. Again, the exact things that I'll be doing in this time, which emails do I have to answer, what things and what scripts I want to write, are all in my to-do list. So I'm not scheduling specific to-dos. And some weeks I actually look at my to-do list and I realize, you know what, this Wednesday I need a little bit more time because I have a very full inbox, and I'll actually drag this out, and then you can say edit recurring event and then just say this event. So as you can see, this Wednesday, I'm gonna take 3 hours instead of 2 to work on my admin and writing. Something that I do put in as a specific task is actually when I have to do something on a certain day that is always every week the same. So every week on Wednesday, I record an episode of my Sims 4 Let's Play because I have to ship it off to my editor. The reason I will time block it is because this is non-negotiable time. I mentioned this in my video about creating good to-do list of putting down your things like non-negotiable things first. That also goes for meetings. So even though I prefer not to specifically schedule time blocks for certain tasks, sometimes something is non-negotiable and you have to schedule time for it. In that case, you will actually see it appear in my calendar as a to-do. So I'm gonna schedule 1.5 hours on Wednesday for my content creation. We're gonna do a little red icon because I need to be record tech legacy challenge, that's what it's called. And then we're also going to have this reoccur. Let me see where I can do that. Does not repeats weekly on Wednesday. So now I always know that from 11 to 12:30, I'll be recording. Then I want to make sure that I have some time to get some lunch because I don't want to starve. And usually I just keep some free time as well because there's always things that come up that I didn't see coming that I still want to work on, etc. On Wednesdays from 3 to 7, I actually live stream. So let me make sure to add that in there as well. Streaming. And for streaming, I'm gonna add a little heart because I really love doing it. Live stream, there we go. And actually, I'm going to have this repeat every Wednesday as well. And then I also live stream on Monday and Friday evenings from 7 to 11. So let me add those time blocks in as well. And I'm going to have that repeat every Monday and Friday. There we go. Because those are on the same time, so it's easy to make a recurring appointment of both. Then another example that I could add, for instance, I could have a physiotherapy appointment from 10 to 11 on Friday. So let me add that in because again, it might be a singular task, but because it's non-negotiable and I cannot shuffle my time or decide what order I want to do things in, I'm gonna have to do this. I am going to put it on personal, and we're going to put a little medal with it, physiotherapy, let's save that. And then something else is over the weekend, I'm gonna go see a movie with my boyfriend. So let me actually add that from 1 to 4 in the afternoon. So we're gonna add that in as well. And then for instance, on Friday afternoon, I almost always have a co-working stream from 1 to 5. So let's actually add that in. I'm gonna add a little book so I know that that's from the co-working stream. And during that co-working stream, I will actually work on YouTube. So I'm actually gonna time block what I'm gonna be working on during that co-working stream as well. So there is even a double time block in my calendar in this case, because I'm kind of doing two things at once. One, I'm co-working streaming, and at the same time, I will be working on, let's say I'm gonna spend 2 hours working on recording an extra TXT video. So all of the steps that come with that. And let me actually make sure that that is scheduled within my content creation. And then I'm gonna spend 2 hours on editing. So let's actually get a computer. And in that time, I'm gonna probably edit not just that extra TXT video, but also maybe some TikToks, all of those things. So my afternoon is actually blocked with 3 blocks because in totality from 1 to 5, I will actually be doing a co-working stream. So I need to memorize this for myself. Like, hey, make sure whenever scheduling to-dos in that time block that you're actually co-working streaming. So there's certain things that you might not be able to do. And then for the actual blocks of what I want to spend my time on, I'm going to spend 2 hours on recording a video or like an extra TXT video. I will probably not specifically know which one, but also this sounds like a singular task, but usually recording a video comes with recording A-roll, basically the talking shots of me, full frame, talking to you, and then shots like this where I'm showing you something, maybe some B-roll that I have to shoot afterwards. So usually recording a video also contains a lot of subtasks. And then lastly, I'm gonna add a little block in my calendar that will be reoccurring every single day of the week, every weekday, and that is going to be, let's add a little cloud because I like that. Let's do a cloud, and then that's going to be my morning routine. And that I'm going to add as a habit and chore. There we go. That's going to show up every time in here. And on Sunday from 10 to 12, I want to do my weekly review. So let's add a little calendar item. During this time, I will actually make my to-do list and I will publish my streaming schedule. I will update my calendars. I will time block for the week. So if you're curious on how I do this and how this process works in my whole productivity system, make sure to check out my full video on my productivity system where I show you where I have what information stored and how this process works. But this again is a habit and I do this every single week. So weekly on Sunday, let's save that. And I also usually put in a little time block for myself of 2 hours. I'm just gonna put it on Saturday morning for now, but this can kind of move around. The reason I put it in is because I wanna make sure that when I'm making plans for my weekend, that I don't forget that I have to give myself at least 2 hours to clean my house and actually just tidy up everything. There we go. Let me actually put that in chores and habits as well. And as you can see, I have now fully blocked my week. There is definitely time in between tasks. There is definitely space for me to, I don't know, maybe snooze a little bit in my bed because that morning I'm struggling with waking up. There is definitely some time for me to maybe move my recording because I was hungry and I wanted to have an early lunch. There's usually time for me in the evenings to move stuff around. But the reason that I'm doing this is to just lay out a basic structure of my week. And that's what time blocking should be doing. It's helping you spend your time like a budget, easily seeing if you're overbooked, underbooked, and also if you don't have a good to-do list, it's going to be really hard to time block for yourself. So in my case, the biggest time blocks are easy because I have a day job, but if you're a student or if you're self-employed, your days might look a little bit more like this, where you actually have to time block a bit more specifically for small activities that you want to do during your day, like which topic you want to study for. Maybe you have classes in there. Again, those are non-negotiable tasks, so you should actually put them in here as an appointment. And eventually you'll figure out a way or a system that works for you. But the most important thing is that it should help you realize how much time you're spending on certain things, and if those are the things that you want to be spending your time on. For me, the conclusion of this is that time blocking is a tool for intent. It shows your intentions for the week. It shows you that maybe on Friday you intend to work on something. However, it should not be dictating what you're doing. You should always continue to use your brain and look at your to-do list and look at the things that have priority and see if your time block actually makes sense. Also, don't spend too much time on the day itself worrying about moving your time blocks around to specifically exactly fit how much time you spend on something. You can do this for a little while. You can actually track your time. So that's different to time blocking, actually tracking how long you've worked on something to get a better understanding of how much time you spend on certain topics, so you can get better at time blocking. But the whole point of time blocking is not to be able to look back and say, I spend 16 minutes on this, 23 minutes on this. The point of time blocking is to help you set intent for your week and to actually make sure that you understand what you want to prioritize and how much time you want to spend on things. Now that I've taught you how to time block in Google Calendar, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this video helped you understand how time blocking can be useful and fun at the same time. And hopefully that it doesn't feel too overwhelming to get started with it and actually start using time blocking as a way to be more productive in your life. If it actually did all of those things, consider tossing the video a cheeky like, because it genuinely helps the video get to more people, potentially helping out more people learning how to time block. And now that we've talked about the differences between time blocking and to-do lists, if you want to know how to make a good to-do list, make sure to check out this video over here where I explain the 10 steps of making a good to-do list for yourself. And also, if this is your cup of tea and your type of content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I have far more exciting videos planned for the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye, everyone!